The Scituate School Committee is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcomed and respected. We ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. Okay. Yes, some opening remarks for tonight. Thank you all for being here. Tonight, we'll discuss a draft job description for a new leadership role in our district, a Director of Support, Engagement, and Advocacy. This role will focus on social and emotional learning while building directly on our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is an essential part of social and emotional learning, and it will be woven throughout everything this role oversees. As we discussed at our last meeting, we are evolving from our current DEI role to this new expanded position because our students have growing unmet social and emotional needs. We don't yet have all the expertise and resources we need, and we lack structure and consistent leadership to coordinate our efforts across the district. This new role will help us close these gaps, bring more resources, more expertise, and more consistent support for all students, especially students of color, students with disabilities, English language learners, economically disadvantaged, LGBTQIA+, and any marginalized students. Moving to this expanded role does not diminish our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our commitment is as strong today as it was when Jamil joined us. In 2021, we were proud to be one of the first districts in Massachusetts to create a role dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thanks to Jamil, we've made progress and established a new foundation. Now this new role will enable us to build on that foundation and meet our students' pressing needs. Social and emotional learning and DEI work are inseparable. Part of social and emotional learning is helping our students develop essential skills like empathy, relationship building, and self-awareness. These skills don't just strengthen our students individually, they strengthen the climate of our schools and contribute to the type of positive, affirming community we aspire to build together. Many people expressed concern that this change means we are stepping away from our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, I want to be absolutely clear. That is not the case. Our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion is unwavering. This change strengthens it by creating a structure where DEI work is embedded throughout our entire district, not siloed in a single role. The following is a quote from Castle, the premier resource for districts looking to develop systems of social emotional support in their districts, and one that our own state framework relies heavily upon. SEL can serve as a lever for equity, addressing issues such as power, privilege, prejudice, discrimination, social justice, empowerment, and self-determination. This is complex work that requires systems-wide alignment and continuous improvement. At our last school committee meeting and in the days since, many of you have shared your perspectives on this new approach. We have heard that some people are feeling fearful about what will come next. Some people are truly grieving the loss of this role and the individual who filled it for us. Thank you to everyone who spoke at our meeting, completed the superintendent survey, sent emails, and attended office hours with the superintendent, Maria, and me. I'm grateful to be a part of a community that cares so deeply about our students. Our hope is to offer reassurance and to rebuild trust with those who have felt that trust has been shaken. The person in this position will partner closely with school administrators, staff, families, and community members to ensure that every student is seen, heard, and valued. And they will champion a safe and supported educational experience for all of our students. I look forward to tonight's discussion of the job description. Thank you so much. I'd like to have public comment now, and knowing that we have a bit of a time constraint tonight, I'd like to really try our best to keep our commitment to our 15 minutes of public comment, knowing that we have our special town meeting beginning tonight at 7 p.m. but like to open up to public comment, start in person, and of course have remote as well. So anyone who'd like to come to the microphone for public comment, please go on over. Or raise a hand remotely. No hands. Anyone in person? All right, I will turn it over to our interim superintendent, Dr. Rob, to discuss our job description for Director of Support Engagement Matters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I do that, I thought I might discuss a few key takeaways from the survey. We did receive 187 responses as of this afternoon, but I didn't shut it down on Friday afternoon, so we left it open through this meeting. And the responses really ranged of the gamut. And so I just wanted to represent them and so that the committee understands kind of what we heard from the survey. Am I not here heard? Okay, is this better? Oh, really close, okay, I'll try. We did have an assortment of responses. About a third of the responses did urge the committee not to replace the position at all. The other 2/3 of the responses really talked about different ways that we could look at the position. It was clear that people enjoyed the Lit Club and that this is our house celebrations. That was stated over and over again by several responses. And the respondents urged us to keep those things in place. Many people said, and I think we did tonight, include LGBTQIA+ in the job description as an underrepresented minority. And I think that's something that we can consider later on. In addition to focusing on minority students, also include the needs of mental health and bullying support, which I think we've included in the job description. And there was a lot of discussion about clarifying the supervisory role. Many people admittedly felt that this was too big of a job for one person. And it is a big job, there's no question about it. Being able to supervise our DEI efforts as well as our SEL efforts is a big job. I think the way I see it is that we have a lot of these efforts happening right now, but they're a bit disjointed. We have our HSA pair data, we do Character Strong, we do Second Step at the middle school, and we need somebody who can come in and help us coordinate all of those efforts. So they wouldn't be acting on their own. This person would be acting as part of our district administrative team and working closely with the directors and the principals and guiding the work that they're already doing. And what I hope is organizing that. Explicitly mentioned bullying and Title IX compliance in this was another recommendation. A lot of support for the current METCO program and a lot of support for the 3 people that are currently supervising that program. A lot of information about families needing support with digital literacy. And we saw that in the spring and we made some adjustments in 5th grade. But in general, a real call for embedding digital literacy as a curriculum in our library time at the elementary schools and in any time we can find at the middle school and high school. In addition, needing college access, readiness, study skills, research skills, critical thinking, public speaking, and presentation skills. And also somebody who can really dig in and update the curriculum to a more DEI focused. While they mentioned that there's a lot of excellent readings in our current curriculum, some of them are a bit outdated, and so I was asking them to include in this somebody to really dig in and put a more of a DEI focus on the curriculum. And in addition, we do the I can't say the word H today, HSA pair focus. And one of the things that we look at in that are academic motivation, action orientation, assertiveness, conduct problems, critical thinking, emotion control, emotional symptoms, and we collect data on each and every student in that area, and somebody to coordinate those efforts and somebody to help the adjustment counselors and the guidance counselors and the health and wellness teachers in terms of actually unpacking that data for our students. Right now that falls to the principals, and it's too much for an individual principal to look at. Certainly we catch at-risk students and we catch the students who are struggling, but to look overall each time we give that test and allow us to really evaluate that would be very, very helpful. So again, there were some excellent responses. We have all of those responses. We collected all those responses. But that's just some key takeaways from the surveys. So really appreciate the time that community members took to fill those in, and I'll be keeping those and using those to reflect upon as we go through this whole process. So in terms of the job description itself, and I did put that out publicly. Like I said, this is a big job. The Director of Support, Engagement, and Advocacy is a district-level leadership position responsible for championing a safe and supported educational and school experience for our students. And there are 5 overall objectives that we're going to be expecting. I'm not going to read the whole job description of the committee, but it's comprehensive and coordinated student supports through our MTS framework, which we're in year 3 on. And so continuing that work, again, with a coordinated effort. School culture and climate, and that is where the diversity, equity, inclusion piece comes in. That is a key component of this job description. Involves providing professional development for staff and fostering a culture of belonging and restorative practices as appropriate for students, staff, and families. And the one thing I wanted to mention is this job description wasn't developed in a vacuum. I did have input from directors here and from other members of the staff here as we put this together who know the needs and live those needs every day. In addition, family and community engagement, we heard loud and clear how the current position does interface with our METCO program and particularly with our GSA students as well. We want to make sure that those needs are met. Additionally, policy and compliance assure that all student support, engagement, and discipline policies are in alignment with local, state, and federal laws. And finally, curriculum oversight and implementation of evidence-based curriculum, including but not limited to SEL, DEI, bullying, and digital literacy. We're looking for somebody with at least a master's degree in education, 5 years experience, preferably a licensed clinical social worker or a licensure in mental health counseling, and somebody who can supervise staff. I really see this growing into a position where we're actually creating a new department in the schools. And this is the beginning of that. Somebody who can supervise our adjustment counselors, coordinate their work pre-K to 12. So happy to answer any questions, happy to make any changes. We will take out the I in LICSW, it's LCSW, and I do want to specifically include LGBTQIA+ students among the marginalized list.
So thank you for the summary of the data. It was good to hear that. I appreciated everybody's feedback as well. So I had a couple of thoughts and wonderings in terms of editing the job description. I think something that's going to be really important to this role, and you sort of alluded to it, Tom, was the data piece. And I wonder if it may make sense in the qualifications somewhere to say experience with data or familiarity with data interpretation, data analysis, because one thing I would love to see this role take on is, I know we've invested a lot of time and effort and people power into the pair, and I would just like some assurances that that's the right one. If it is, are we using it well and as effectively as we can? So I think something around data, because we are saying evidence-based curriculum, so I feel like data could be throughout. The other thing I wondered about, and I'm curious about my colleagues on the committee, when I read the position summary, especially after both the statement from Nicole and your statement last time we met, I'm not sure the summary reflects this beautiful integration of SEL and DEI that you have both articulated. And I want to make definitely clear to this person that it's not either or, it's a yes and. And I really want to attract someone who is bringing that equity lens into every part of this job description. And so I think it says it in a few places, but I just feel like we could say it clearly, loudly, and unapologetically, because I think we all have always had a belief in that. So those were my thoughts. If we can just make sure, I see it in the curriculum, I see it in the the family engagement. I just would like to see it just explicitly stated in the summary of the position.
So with that end, Madam Chair, I think it'd be great to hear any feedback, and then if I could take the next 2 weeks to incorporate the feedback, and then perhaps we vote on the 17th. that'll give me a chance to
Great.
slowly, reflectively, because you're right, some of the stuff that we read at the beginning of the meeting actually articulates some of this a whole lot
Yeah.
better now that we've had
Yeah.
some time to think about it.
Yep.
So I'd love to
kind of
incorporate that
weave
into
it
the
in.
summary. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I had a question on the curriculum bullet point. I think I know the answer to this, but I just think this could be a point of clarification where it says oversight and implementation of evidence-based curriculum. My assumption is that this person is not directly implementing curriculum, but rather overseeing the implementation of curriculum. And I don't know if this is a common phrasing in jobs of similar, you know, it might be the way that you say it, like I know Ryan has sort of some implementation oversight roles in his work, and I don't know if that's how it's described. So I think if it is, then we can keep it that way, but if it's not, then maybe we wanna just think about that phrasing slightly to indicate that, you know, while this person might do a model lesson occasionally, they're not themselves
Yeah.
doing.
I was wondering about that
Agreed.
too.
Agreed.
3,000 students.
Agreed,
Right.
no, certainly they're not
Yes.
actually doing it, but we were thinking of things like second step, character
Right,
strong.
that's what I thought.
And there might be others that we haven't even thought of, so I would hope that
Right.
a person would commit and make those recommendations to us.
Recommend.
But it would be the health and wellness teachers that would be teaching that, the people who are currently teaching it now. You know, earlier on, at another meeting, when we looked at the budget for next year, we had talked about library media specialists at the elementary level things. And some of those new positions, this is all kind of integrated, and we're all kind of figuring out this new role, new department.
So maybe implementation isn't the right
I don't think
word.
it is.
I'll come up with another
I
one.
think it's like advise and consent or something.
Yeah.
Advise
Advise
and
and maybe something more similar to
recommend
like what a
or-
department chair language is from one
Exactly,
of
I don't
their
know
job
what the
descriptions.
language is, but it just.
Yeah.
Well, I think that language is important
It
because to the extent we want this integrated across everything,
Right.
we have to use the right verb there because
Yeah.
it's not
Because
implemented,
they're
it's
not
something
implementing.
else. Yeah, and we already have a ton of people that do that well, like the implementation.
Mr. Lynch is really good at this.
Yeah. Yeah. The only other thing, well, I had two questions. One's a clarifying question. The only other thought I had, I know we have these 5 big pieces. Given that you, Tom, see this as a future department, I don't know if there needs to be something in this job description that's about building teams. I don't know if that's too quick or where we could put that, but it just feels like not just working with stakeholders, but can you sort of bring, I'm thinking like the adjustment counselors and like, can you bring existing resources, identify, right? Like be able to identify where our gaps are, where our needs are, where our strengths are, that kind of language. What was that?
Collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. So really, I mean, I feel like it's a system, you're building a system, right, in another system, so that feels important. The other question I had, and this is because I don't know about Massachusetts, the qualification, the DESE admin cert, is that standard for this level of job? Is that why it's in there?
Yes.
Is that-
it
that's standard?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Whether
Okay.
it's a supervisory, but it could be somebody with a principal, assistant principal
Okay.
certification, even superintendent, assistant superintendent.
Okay,
In order to properly evaluate staff.
they have to
they
have
need
that,
cert.
okay.
One of them.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to clarify.
Sense.
Nicole, when you think about, I know from your background, the licensure, do those seem to cover the two?
I think so,
Big-
Janice and I were checking
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
she's a social worker, I'm an
Right.
adjustment counselor for
Yeah.
MHC. I
Sorry.
think
Well,
that's
that's
brought up the I should be out.
Oh, yeah, but those seem to be the two like areas, okay. Great.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, they could probably have a PhD, I mean, you might,
They could
you
be
just
higher.
don't know, you could be
Yeah,
higher.
but I mean, this would be, this is catching the right
Yeah,
areas,
that's your
not
look, you
at a
know, say
minimum.
anything minimal,
Yeah.
but above.
That makes
You
sense.
never know.
We
Sky's
say
the limit.
preferred there for that reason, so
Yep.
that it gives the person who's interested in the job, the kind of the minimum
Yeah.
qualifications. If I don't at least have this or something
Right.
close,
Yeah,
then I'm probably not good at it.
oh, that makes sense.
Any other questions for?
Just like to see the edits, yeah.
Can you share the timeline
Sure.
for what would come next?
So if we approve the job description at the November 17th meeting, we would immediately post the position. I think it posted probably through December. At that time, we would, probably a month, it's hard to interview a week before Christmas. So likely we would post it through the end of the calendar year. And then we put a committee together of representative parents, administrators, teachers, probably 8 or 9 people, headed by our HR director. She does the interview process for all the district level positions. And we would interview beginning of January and hope to have somebody in place by February 1st.
Questions?
I guess my only question is, do we know about the districts that have a similar position in their district, whether local or somewhere?
It's research I need to do, but I've seen it really range. So sometimes people will task a school psychologist or head psychologist with this position. Other places do it very, very differently. So there's no consistency, I'll put it that way. But there's bits and pieces of it in different districts.
I did look at that too. I looked at some other districts to try to see what other places are doing. I think what Tom said is accurate. But I think what I seem to have understood from what both Tom and Ryan have shared, this position feels really tailored to the needs that we have. And so I think that's important, that we are thinking about where our specific gaps are, and how this is like the missing puzzle piece that might connect some of the work that's happening has been ongoing, that might need some of that connecting piece to strengthen. So I think that's kind of how and I think that must be what other districts do too, because when I look at these similar roles, they seem really tailored.
Yeah,
In
agreed.
ways that are, so it's not like a standard, like, oh, this is what this means, and this is what it always means. It looks like it means something slightly different, kind of wherever you look, is what I came to understand.
And it's called different things in different
Called
places,
different
so it's
things.
sort of hard to
Yes.
track them. Support purposes, goals.
It can also depend on the size of the district.
Great.
So allow Mr. Lynch and I to get at it tomorrow and
Okay,
redirect from all the input that we've had.
Great.
And we'll share it.
okay, that sounds great. That's good. Okay, we have, so we'll table a vote, let you reconstruct, take feedback, dig into anything else you found in feedback from the community and from over the weekend since we kept the survey open. And then final presentation on the 17th to us all. Then we will vote on the 17th, so you can get it out there, posting, you said, for December, yep, okay. And then you're looking for February start date, first person ideally. Okay, that sounds good, that's the timeline. Sounds good to me, to the committee, sounds good. We have our approval of minutes from October 20th on here as well. Yeah.
Very well written. Wonderful. I make a motion that the school committee vote to approve the October 20th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Warrants? Correspondences. Okay, any other business? We have our, next week is the conference. Yep, we have our basket conference next week. Future agenda items, other than the ones we just discussed, on November 17th. Right, motion to adjourn then,
Adjourn special town.
special town meeting,
Yeah.
not really
Sorry.
adjourning, not really adjourning.
Adjourn a special town meeting at 6:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.